Welcome to WatchMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 games with broken physics. For this list, we'll be looking at various video games that hilariously defy the laws of physics, whether intentionally or not. Can you think of any others? Be sure to let us know in the comments below.
Before we continue, we'll be doing a deep dive on this list's #1 entry over on Mojo Plays, so be sure to check it out once you've finished watching.
Number 10. Skate 3. Something very interesting happened around 2014. Skate 3 had been out for 4 years, and it had actually gone out of print due to lack of demand. And then YouTubers started playing it. All the big names played Skate 3. The videos accrued tens of millions of views each, and EA actually began producing more copies to keep up with the insane demand. And the reason the game became so weirdly popular? Ragdoll physics, mostly. The game is rife with hilarious glitches, and the ragdoll physics made wipeouts infinitely rewarding, enjoyable, and endearingly hilarious. It's a skateboarding game, but no one wanted to actually skate. It's amazing what a simple physics engine can do for a game's popularity. Number 9. Grand Theft Auto 4.
There's been a big scare and you can't go across the bridges so good. You without the visa, I would stay in broker.
Rockstar's first GTA 4A on the 7th generation was an undeniable technical marvel, but fan response remains muted. It was a major tonal departure from San Andreas, complete with a tragic story and a far more grounded approach to its gameplay. Another point of contention concerns the game's problematic and often frustrating physics. Nico moved like he weighed 1,000 pounds, which made running and shootouts a bit awkward. But the biggest issue by far was the driving. The driving physics remained divisive within the fan base, with some loving the more realistic approach and others hating the slow boat-like movements. And that's not even mentioning the absolutely laughable pool physics. Number 8. Fallout New Vegas. As great as Obsidian's entry in the Fallout franchise is, it was made using the Havoc engine, and what an unintentionally hilarious engine it is. The game was absolutely riddled with graphical glitches, including the always hilarious sights of characters walking into or even through walls, or just straight up floating in the air. Even putting the bugs aside, the game's physics left a lot to be desired. Facial animations were stiff and unengaging, a trait that plagues all Bethesda games. The combat and shooting felt flat and awkward, and world interaction was near non-existent. This game was meant for mods. Number 7. Totally Reliable Delivery Service. In 2019, this little game, developed by We're 5 Games and published by TinyBuild, was released to the unsuspecting public. The goal of the game is simple: pick up a package and deliver it to its destination. Of course, it's not as simple as all that. The title is used in an ironic fashion, as this delivery service is notoriously unreliable. The game is more of a ragdoll physics simulation than anything else, and each little action throughout the game is performed in the most outlandish, ridiculous, and hilarious manner possible. Like Skate 3, the actual delivery of the package isn't really the point. Just explore the world, go crazy with the ragdoll effects, and enjoy a ton of laughs. Number 6. Gang Beasts. Created by British indie studio Bone Loaf, Gang Beasts is undeniably one of the wackiest beat-em-ups ever made. Released through Early Access in 2014, Gang Beasts is a simple multiplayer beat-em-up, as players fight each other in various absurd locations until one is knocked out. The difference between this and, say, Mortal Kombat is that players control gelatinous characters that flop and flap around in hilarious and unrealistic fashion. It makes for a fantastic party game, perfectly blending competition and traditional fighting gameplay with an intentionally broken physics engine that will have everyone laughing in glee. Number 5, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 5. And here we see the dangers of rushing a game to completion. The licensing deal between Tony Hawk and Activision was expiring, so Activision quickly pumped out a new entry and released it in an utterly broken and embarrassingly unfinished state. The game was critically eviscerated and rightfully bombed, effectively killing the franchise for 5 years. Constant game-breaking bugs aside, the game was just a poorly produced mess. The physics engine is incredibly wonky and makes movement feel unintuitive, and the controls make even the simplest of tricks unbelievably frustrating. Even if the bugs were smoothed out, the game still would have sucked. Number 4, Goat Simulator. Like both Totally Reliable Delivery Service and Gang Beasts, the physics of Goat Simulator are intentionally ridiculous, meant for nothing more than maximum hilarity. You play as a goat, causing chaos in a suburban setting. The game plays much like Tony Hawk, as you accrue points by performing certain ridiculous stunts and completing goals. It goes all out with the amusing ragdoll physics, and as funny as it is to say, the finished product is intentionally bad. The numerous glitches were left in on purpose, with the primary goal being to market the game through YouTube compilations and videos. It was often called YouTube bait, and it resulted in a rash of similarly styled games. Number 3, Superman 64. This game can sit proudly, or perhaps not so proudly, alongside Tony Hawk 5 as one of the worst of all time. Now, we don't expect masterful physics from the Nintendo 64, but the ones found in Superman 64 are notoriously awful. Even controlling Superman is a nigh impossible task, as he moves like a tank and generally acts in a totally unresponsive manner. Even completing the opening tutorial is an exercise in tedium and relentless frustration. And then there is the constant clipping found throughout the game, and the absolutely abhorrent collision detection that makes the finished product feel like little more than a beta, which it essentially was. Number 2, The Elder Scrolls V: Skyrim. Much like Fallout New Vegas, or most Bethesda games for that matter, Skyrim is far greater than the sum of its glitchy, buggy, physics-defying parts. Skyrim's countless technical issues are part of its charm, as the literally thousands of YouTube videos can attest. In fact, all the memes and videos likely aided in the game's commercial success. The physics engine is a complete mess, full of unexpressive faces, awkward movements, and a disappointingly flat combat system that will have everyone turning to magic or sneaking. And in few other games can you ride a horse up a mountain, but then again, such is the undeniable magic of Skyrim. Before we unveil our top pick, here are a few dishonorable mentions. Turbo Dismount, even more ragdoll goofiness. FIFA series, The franchise is full of notoriously awful bugs. Surgeon Simulator, another YouTube bait game famous for its wonky physics.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure to go into your settings and switch on notifications.
Number 1. Big Rigs, over-the-road racing. Much has been written about Big Rigs over the years, primarily because it's one of the worst video games ever released. It's technically a racing game as you race through various checkpoints along a truck route. In reality, it's the most unintentionally hilarious video game ever made. There is a complete lack of collision detection, so the truck can phase through every single object it comes across. There is no sense of elevation or off-road traction, allowing the truck to speed up steep mountains without impediment. You break the sound barrier while reversing, and should you be so inclined, you can do blurry donuts in your big rig. The game's physics are broken in as much as there are no physics to speak of.
If you want to know why we chose our number 1 pick for this list, head over to Mojo Plays and watch our in-depth analysis of the entry. Check the link in the description below.